Welcome to Coffee with Coaches Meeker Edition, a podcast created to showcase the achievements of Meeker High School students. Tiffany Jahoric, owner-operator of Crystal Meadow Farms and sports editor for the Rio Blanco Herald-Times, and Rich Klinsman, owner-operator of Step Beyond Media, with special guest hosts get together for weekly discussions over coffee with MHS coaches and teachers. They look back for a week in review and to what is coming for MHS athletes, plus so much more. Welcome to the second episode of the Spring 2022 season. So, Rich, did you watch the NCAA wrestling finals?
Yeah, I sure did, man. There were some great matches. Penn State, incredible, incredible.
Yes. How many, did they end up with 4?
I think so.
Yeah. And all across the board in the weights. For the little, I think they're 197.
Is it 197? Yeah.
Was the heaviest they had, right?
Right,
yeah.
right.
And so, did you... Of course, you watched the heavyweights, but the music wasn't turned up. We were watching it at the brewery.
Right.
But then the next day, Colton Schultz, who was the Ponderosa 4-time heavyweight for the for University of Nebraska, for Colorado, who was wrestling for ASU, came out to, if you're going to be stupid, you got to be tough. Which I guess when wrestling Gable Stevenson, who was an Olympic gold medalist, and I think, was that Gable's second or third NCAA championship?
I believe it was his third.
Yeah, I guess that's absolutely true.
Wow. Yeah. And like you were talking before we were doing this, that Gable, he's not a college athlete. He's a man.
He's a man.
He's a 35-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah, he
was smaller. He was the smallest. He only weighed 281. So that's fun. So today in the studio, we're going to have Trevor and Dr. Justin Grant, which will be fun. We're going to talk about the Nationals in Virginia Beach, and we're also going to have head coach for the girls golf team, Amanda Back. They actually had their first tournament last Monday at Chipeta,
yeah.
golf course in Grand Junction. But before we do that, we also had track over the weekend. You know, on Friday, the boys...
in rifle.
All the boys and girls. I think that Coach Blunt said they took about 34 kids to the Rifle Invitational, and I have a few. I just pulled the kids who placed in the top 3. There were like 30 plus teams there.
Right.
When Judd left the house, it was 15 degrees. And I was like, I packed all my heated gear, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And then Coach Casey said that when the first event started, it was 13. I was like, awesome.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And some of the kids didn't take sweatshirts.
Anyway. Well, they're high school kids. What do you expect?
I know. So 34 teams. You could enter as many kids in each event as you wanted, which made the track meet go until 6 p.m.
That's a long event for a first time of the year.
It is. But some amazing athletes. There was a high jumper, 2 high jumpers. First, the runner-up took high jumper in the boys. His name is Scotty, and actually he has relatives here in Meeker. And he jumped 6 foot, and then the winner jumped 6'6". And he was from Battle Mountain.
Wow.
KJ Nix, I believe, was his name.
Okay. I'll have to look that up to see how close we're getting to state record already on that.
I know.
For our division.
Yeah. So, for Meeker results, Kelton Turner took, I believe, second, maybe third. I don't know why I don't have that written down. Anyway, in the 100-meter, third. In the 100-meter dash at 11.47 seconds, and I believe the winner was at like 11.01 seconds, so he was right behind him. He also took third in pole vault at 10 foot 6 inches. The Meeker girls, which I don't know who was on that 4x200 team, they took third, and then Zach Eskelson threw 42 feet 6 inches in shot and took second place, and then Haley Knowles took second in discus at 100 feet 5 inches. So our kids did really good. Those are some great throws and, great accomplishments for your first meet of the year.
Right. And with us here, weather-wise, it's not like they've had a whole lot of time outside on a track to be able to get ready for it.
Nope. No, especially the runners. The runners haven't had much time. They've been pole vaulting inside and throwing inside, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really fun. I mean, there were some other good, looking through the results, and Porter Hoslick did, some really great things over the weekend. And Liam Deming, I think it was his first ever track meet, because he's always been playing baseball. And this year they're doing a little bit of cross playing in both sports. I think he did really good in the triple jump. And so, yeah, it was a fun meet to be at and watch the kids. And, of course, I think pole vault went the entire Yeah.
It normally does, and it seems like that's the popular one now as well.
Right.
As everybody wants to see how high they can go.
I know. Yes, they don't have a pole big enough for Judd. That's all right. So, yeah. But anyway, so when we come back, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we'll have Trevor and Justin.
Crystal Meadow Farms is family owned and operated, offering a wide range of CBD products. Coming from 5 generations of farming, Crystal Meadow Farms offers farm-to-table products. In-house CBD extraction using beverage-grade CO2 since 2019. They create a CBD oil without the use of harmful chemicals. Their retail products are handcrafted using organic and natural ingredients and are some of the strongest on the market. They offer a range of CBD tinctures, spa products, a pet line, gummies for day and night, and a large line of topicals.
Welcome back, and today we're joined by Justin Grant and Trevor Grant and the coaches that are taking the boys to Virginia Beach. So let's talk about a little bit about why you decided to do this, because it's a big endeavor. I mean, you guys have families, and it's a lot of time for you guys, and so it's pretty amazing for the community to have you guys doing this.
Thank you. So the reason that we do it is, one, we have a really good group of kids that it's a really good opportunity for them to see another level of competition outside of the state of Colorado. The state of Colorado wrestling has been getting progressively better and better and is starting to put more and more collegiate wrestlers out. But that was our original intent, was to just kind of expose kids to more. And it's turned into more than that too. There's a whole other layer of growth for these kids in kind of how we set it up. We have the morning practices. It was originally we wanted to be able to do afternoon practices, and then just with other sports and jobs and things like that, it's not really feasible. So these kids are growing, they're learning discipline further past the wrestling season. So wrestling is a very intensive sport in that you put a lot into it, and it's easy to just fall off the wagon. Kind of like New Year's resolutions, people go really gung-ho for a while and then fall off. So now we've got these 8 kids that are going, and while everybody else in the state is falling behind or not progressing further, they're continuing to progress. They're waking up, going to 5:15 a.m. practices in order to do so. That by itself teaches them a lot of discipline. And going on this trip is a really good wrestling opportunity, but it's also an opportunity that some of them may not have otherwise, to go out to the East Coast and see things that they haven't seen and experience things that they haven't experienced. And it's just a really good opportunity for growth overall.
Right. I was looking at the brackets, and I think that, will most of them be 42-person brackets? Because if they have like 38 in them now, will they just bump it up to a 42 and give some kids a buys, or how will that work?
They'll probably draw it out as a 32-man bracket and then drop pigtails in, or just a 64-man bracket and have a lot of buys.
Oh, okay. Wow. And so, Justin, what kids are going?
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go through the weights here. We have Clay Crawford, we have Ty Geddert, we have I'm gonna actually be jumping all over the weights. Tanner Musser, Judd's going, Trey's not going this year. Trey went last year. Cade and Connor, and then Bo. There's one more.
Bo, Clay, Ty, Abe, Cade,
That's
Connor.
Yep. Abe's gone.
Judd, Musser.
Yep.
Yes. And so Connor, Judd, and Tanner this is their second time going. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be different this year. I mean, last year, Judd only had 8 kids in his bracket. I think a lot of that due to COVID. Mm-hmm. But this year, I think the competition's going to be a bit different. Looking at who the kids are going to have, there's going to be more kids in everybody's bracket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. There's a couple things as far as what the level of competition is like when we go out there. So one, yes, not having all the COVID restrictions is going to make it more competitive. Also, since the freshmen only wrestle freshmen, sophomore only wrestle sophomore, and so on, the older you get, the more competitive it's going to be. So the seniors are going to have a lot more competitive bracket than the freshmen. All the freshman brackets will still be highly competitive. It just, as you get closer to graduation, a lot more of those kids are looking at going on to the next level, and so they tend to be a little bit more competitive.
And speaking of that next level and opportunities, this year the kids are going to have the opportunity to meet a bunch of college coaches. So on, I think it's Saturday. Yeah, Saturday there's a couple-hour window where it's like a coaches clinic, and so there's a chance to meet a lot of college coaches that are going to be there.
Oh, good. That's good for them, especially the ones that want to go on.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even if they don't, it's good to expose them and help them start looking at what opportunities might be out there. Maybe there's a kid that never thought it might be an option, and then they see what it's all about and start thinking a little bit differently.
Yeah. Yes, and so I think it'll be like Bo and Abe and Clay, and we'll have Cade too, all of their first time going. I think it's just going to be such a great experience for them. And looking at the NCAA tournament that finished up and Penn State won that tournament, you see a lot of kids from that side of the country, of course, being in Virginia Beach, right? Mm-hmm. But you see a lot of the Pennsylvania kids there, Georgia kids, I noticed. And so, again, like you said, that level of competition is there for these kids to see. So you're leaving on Wednesday, mm-hmm. and you have weigh-in sometime on Thursday, and you return on Monday. And so the families can watch on Flow Wrestling. Is there any other way for families to watch?
As far as I know, I think that is the only way. I think Flow bought the rights to the entire tournament. If you go on Track Wrestling, you should be able to click on their bouts, and it should direct you to Flow Wrestling.
Okay.
So for the parents that want to watch live or non-parents, you will have to create a Flow Wrestling account. And just a heads up on that, if you want to share accounts with someone and have multiple people log in, it will boot you out, and only one person can be logged in at a time.
Yes. We found that out last year.
Do some wrestling watching parties. Have some people come to a house. And
Too bad it's at 6 a.m. Yes, and so will any of the college wrestlers be there to meet too that come with coaches, or how does that work on that Saturday?
Well, they're actually going to do a technique clinic in the middle of the tournament, and Joey McKenna, who's a Division I All-American, is going to be putting that on. So that'll be pretty cool. And I would imagine some of the coaches might bring their athletes with them. The coaches fair that Justin was referring to, if I understand it correctly, it's going to be in a courtyard. There's going to be multiple booths set up for different colleges. And I think there's going to be different size colleges too. So it's not just like all the Division I schools. There's going to be some smaller schools there as well. So that's where I was saying it might open some kids' eyes to what opportunities are actually out there if there's something they're interested in and maybe didn't see an opportunity to do it otherwise.
There's also going to be a signing with Henry Cejudo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. I think he was at the state tournament 2 years ago. I don't know. But all right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We sure appreciate it. And of course, we'll have you back. And
cool.
let's hope we get some kids in the All-American status.
Yeah, absolutely. Bring some hardware to talk about.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you guys
Awesome.
so much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And so thank you, Amanda, for coming in your second week in a row.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm. And so tell us a little bit about the golf tournament. It was a scramble.
It was a scramble. It was so much fun. It was Vivian Wagner, Haley Knowles, and Haley Blaisdell. We could only do 4, and they did really well, first time on grass, and it was really awesome.
And the weather was good. You sent us some pictures, and the girls were in skirts.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was like 55. We left here, and it was probably 2 and icy and snow-packed roads, and then we get there, and it's perfect. So we were really lucky.
And then they finished up the week, and you don't have anything this week until next Tuesday, right?
Next Tuesday is Gypsum Creek. I don't know. With the snow we're getting, I don't know if we'll get to go there or not.
Yeah. And so then you're still practicing inside, obviously, here. I went and drove by the golf course, and there were some major open spots, but it's ready to go, but it's muddy.
It's super muddy, and we have to let it dry out, or else we'll ruin all the grass. But with this week being spring break, it's kind of optional, so we shall see.
Oh.
The practices.
Can you at least go out to the driving range and hit outside, or is that even no?
That's no. Oh. That's no until everything just dries out, because we will ruin the golf course.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, that makes sense, because with golf, even if you put a shoe print in it, you're ruining it. So
yeah,
darn it.
Yeah, so that's a bummer. And the snow's, I guess the snow's helping the grass grow nicer. But it's not helping us get outside.
Makes golf a little tough. Yeah. And so you'll practice this week. Optional this week.
Optional this week.
And then next week, will you have a shoot off to decide who gets to go to Gypsum Creek if it happens? Or what will y'all do?
We will try. We're still in the warehouse, and it's pretty hard on a simulator to do anything. So it's kind of just, who's been hitting the ball the best and things like that at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
We sure appreciate it.
We'll see you soon.
Yep.
See you soon.
Well, that was a fun episode having all those coaches in the room again.
Absolutely. And it's great to see the girls golf already going.
I know.
I mean, you look outside, you see the snow, but it's nice that they can go down to Junction and whatnot and start playing.
There's a funny thing. There's a golf tournament in Walden in the snow. And you
do they actually have one? Okay.
Bright balls. But I don't know how they still don't get lost. Yeah. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. I tried to talk Amanda into doing that, but
no. Dang it.
I know. So we have a big week. Well, we don't have a big week. It's spring break, but there is still some things going on.
Yeah, this is actually, I think, one of the first years Coach Blazon was talking that they're playing baseball during spring break.
Yes, and they're still starting a little bit later than some of the other teams.
They are. Again, the teams down in the Grand Junction area and everything, they've already had 3 or 4 games. Mm-hmm. But this is actually relatively early for us.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's hard. I know I was driving by, and of course, the softball practice, it's a softball field, it's melted off. Well, it was yesterday, but like totally sopped in and wet.
Oh, yeah.
But the baseball field still had patches of snow. I'm like, it's going to be a while.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So this week, no golf, like we just talked about. They go Gypsum Creek, hopefully crossing fingers next Tuesday. The wrestlers leave Wednesday for nationals. And we'll probably be providing some updates on the wrestlers as they progress through their brackets.
Great.
The baseball is the big one this week. Their opening game is Tuesday. They're at North Fork, and you're going to stream that.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I will be streaming both the varsity and the JV game.
Yep, and we will put a reminder out Tuesday morning so everybody knows times and has that information all available to them. And hopefully we can get a roster too before then and get that posted.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And then Saturday, the team travels to Delta to play Gunnison.
Right. Originally on the schedule, they had it for Grand Junction, to play in Grand Junction, but something with the fields, they couldn't get field or something, so yeah, they moved it to Delta.
Oh, good.
So that should be a good game.
And I would imagine that there's still some kids missing from the team because of spring break. They're probably traveling here or there. So it'll still be fun for the kids to get out there and get some experience, and yeah, that'll be great. And then pole vaulters do go for a great day of instruction in Denver with an individual, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I can't either.
Hallie talks about him too. Anyway, and so they get to go to that on Wednesday, and I think she said she had 8 kids signed up to go, and so that's good. As our pole vaulting program's really grown over the last few years.
Okay, yeah, and it really has.
And then the track meet, the next track meet is actually our Meeker track meet, and that is on April 1st. So
hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, weather. You're just not sure.
Yeah, it's going to be cold no matter what. Yeah, and so our athlete of the week this week is Haley Knowles. Haley threw 100 feet 5 inches. I don't know what her personal record is. I don't know that, but that's a big throw for your very first time out for the year. Plus, Haley is a dual sport, so she's also on the golf team. And I know Coach Back had said that Haley is one of the most coachable kids that she has. Also, she's just super athletic and she follows instructions. She really, thinks about it and gets it done. And so congratulations, Haley, on being Athlete of the Week.
Congratulations, Haley.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for this week.
Yep. And go Cowboys with baseball this week and with track.
Yeah, go Cowboys.